Hi everybody, Ian Dainty here. I'd like to welcome you, and I want to ask you a very important question. Are you wasting your marketing and sales efforts and therefore your money? Recently I've come across a number of Canadian B2B technology companies that are really struggling with revenue generation. Many blame their woes on the rising Canadian dollar, and it has risen about 20% in the past 20 years. However, in 2007 it hit $1.10 US, so it was even a lot higher than it is now. Today it sits around $1.02 or $1.03. Now this is a lot of fluctuation, but it has fluctuated considerably over the past few years, as I just showed you. So these firms should have planned for some of these fluctuations, and many of them didn't. But the biggest issue I see is that these firms do not spend enough on marketing and sales to generate the revenue they want and what they need. If they do spend enough, most spend it unwisely. Did you know that Microsoft and IBM, arguably, the two best successful technology companies ever, we could argue with Google and all that now, but let's just say they are, spend about 50% more on marketing and sales than they do on research and development. However, many companies simply waste their marketing and sales efforts, whether they spend enough or not. I recently called on a company that distrusts marketers. Want to know why? Because the last marketing genius they hired spent his whole time designing a new logo for the company. What a huge waste of time that is. I hope you haven't fallen into this or the branding trap that this person thinks that you have to do in any marketing effort. But you have to blame management for that mistake. Too many companies hire people without explicit, measurable deliverables, particularly in marketing. And that is why marketing is one of the first cuts in an economic downturn, because people don't know what it is. You know the old saying, 50% of my marketing is working, I'm just not sure which 50%. So most marketing departments cannot justify their budget because they don't measure what they deliver. Salespeople have always had measurable deliverables. You hire a sales guy, here's your quota, now go get it. But the turnover in sales is probably the largest in any company department. Do you know why this is? Because most salespeople really do not know how to sell. They've never really been trained how to sell. Many in technology have all been taking orders for the last 30 years. And most companies make their salespeople spend most of their time marketing. That is, generating leads instead of being in front of the client. So what is the answer to this long time issue? Well, it's quite simple actually. If you have a company with under $100 million in revenue, and I would assume that most of you in this listening to this presentation do, then you should not be doing brand marketing or general advertising. That is just throwing money down the drain, and you can't measure it. Your marketing budget should be spent strictly on lead generation and client development after you get that lead. Things that can be measured, that's what your budget should be spent on. If you do that, you'll get many positive side benefits. As an example, you will build a brand without really trying to, and you allow the salespeople to spend more time in front of their prospects and clients. And that is what they were hired to do, is to sell, be in front of their prospects and clients. You will see a leap in revenue and your bottom line if you do this. If the marketing department does lead generations, then sales can spend more time in front of their prospects and clients, and you will see a leap in your revenue and your bottom line. Just makes sense. There are many actions you can do in marketing that can measure whether you have been successful in generating and sustaining leads. Here's just a few of them. Referrals and references, I'm not going to go through them. You can read them and you can come back to them. Product launches are really good. Webinars and teleseminars are good. Trade shows can be iffy. User groups within your own, if you have a big enough client population, are very good. Writing articles, white papers, ebooks, etc., etc., etc. So there's many you can use. And when implemented properly, all of these ideas and actions can be measured. That's the key, they can be measured, and they all help in lead generation and client development. And of course the salespeople can be part of many of these events, helping to generate the leads and qualifying. And all these actions will make everyone's job much easier. Now how many of these ideas, actions are you using now? I'd like to bet many of you aren't using hardly any. And if you do use them, how many do you measure? If you don't measure the results and what you're getting out of it, then you shouldn't be using it. Let's have a look at the first lead generation above, and what I believe is probably the best one, by the way, which is getting and using referrals. Every company I've come across either does not get referrals, or they do not know how to ask for them, and then they use them incorrectly many times. Here are 7 steps that work for getting referrals. Number 1, tell your client that one of the ways you get new business is through referrals. Make it clear that you want to get a referral from them when they become a client. Ask your client if he or she would be willing to give you referrals. Be very explicit. Ask them outright. Tell the client exactly what the type of person you want as a referral. Give them what your ideal client looks like. Ask for the referral's name and contact information. All of their information, their name, their company, their phone number, their email address, etc., and any other information you can get, their age, and how important their job is, anything you can get from the referral. And ask qualifying questions about the referral he or she gave you. Now that's something I'm going into, and I can go into a later thing. If you're interested, you can contact me. But you've got to ask qualifying questions so that they understand what your ideal client looks like. Ask the client to call and introduce you to the referrals. Now this could be important. This is a really way to do it. Have them phone up and say, hey, we've just had a great experience with this company. The sales rep we've got is great. We want you to, I'd like you to have a chat with them to see if there's anything that they might be able to introduce you to. So ask them to call. If the client shows nervousness or refuses to call, ask if you can use the client's name when you contact the referral. If you can't, then it's not really a referral. So preferably they would call them. If not, at least use their name when you call them or send them a letter or whatever. So that's it. So today I want to make it your goal to get at least 2 referrals using the above methodology. Call your clients up, tell them what you want to do, tell them you need referrals if they're happy with what you've done, and then you can move forward and phone these referrals. So thanks, and be sure to click the like button on the side of this presentation. Until next time, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.